Okay, back on boot with semi-finals. As we said before, the first semi-final is between Roberto Marchetti with Chris Delver and Davide Calvaruso with Storm. And the other semi-final is between Nicola Marchetti with Omnitel with Red and Angelo Cadei with Miracle. So the game we're gonna see is Angelo Marchetti with Chris Delver with against Calvaruso with Ant. And Marchetti already started with the probe for turn 1, revealing 3 lands, Empty Warrens, Downside Diamond, Past in Flames, and Cabarito. Quite slow hand.
Quite a clunky hand, but I mean, if you look at Marchetti deck list, he plays like a full set of Lightning Bolts, a couple of Fort Balls. He literally only has 4 days and 4 Force of Wills.
Yeah.
He doesn't even play Cabal Therapy game 1. So there's not many ways you can interact with the ant.
Yeah.
It needs to be very aggressive and win fast. So maybe that's why the ant player, at this level of the tournament, they probably know what their opponent is playing.
I tried Shaman. Another land from the ant deck. So it's got 4 lands. And not so efficient spells. So Marchetti's got quite a time. Marchetti's got a Pyromancer, Etiquette, but he decided to ponder instead. Could have played the Pyromancer with a fetch land, ponder, and already creating a token. Instead decided to ponder before. And he passes the turn.
Yeah, what's he holding?
Maybe he doesn't want to tap out. But it's also true that he knows the end of the opponent and he knows it's a slow end. So now Marchetti will finally...
Yeah, these 3 damages he missed.
Yeah. Will finally play with Pyromancer? Yeah, finally. Probe. Sta tenendo le vite. Le vite. Marchetti's at 16 and 15 and Calvaruso is at 18. No Marchetti. He basically lost a turn, which now he could have 3 damages in more and Pyromancer already in play. Instead he decided to pass the turn. Also Delver on side of Stone deck he's got he's rolled Cabar Ripple now.
How far is Ant from winning this game? Is it very far? Is it
No.
like 3 turns far?
No, for me it's 2 turns far. So now Calvaruso. Now damages.
Dude, we haven't been eating all day. I mean, give us a break. You know what I mean? We're just having a couple of cookies here and there,
Cosa dice?
So one as next.
Okay, so now Roberto is gonna Ponder and creating another Pyromancer token. And he's got a Force Wheel, and he's got to keep the play, and he pass the turn. He's got 2 damage more to do at the end of the turn, and next turn he's gonna be able to do 5, 6, 7, 9 damages, putting Calvaruso to 1 life right in the next turn. No, to be sure, he's got 2 tokens.
Yeah, those are 2 tokens.
So are 4, 7, 9, 11. Yeah, he's got 11 damage in the table next turn. Total. So Calvaruso, if he's gonna fetch this turn,
Also, he might be having a lightning bolt. I mean, if he has a lightning bolt, well, there's no land in the graveyard anyway.
Yeah.
For now.
So if Calvaruso fetches this turn, or he wins, or is dead. Also probe. So Calvaruso is down. Definitely have to win this turn. Roberto showing hand with Forked Bolt, Brainstorm Ponder, and a Force Wheel. Calvaruso with the Cabal Therapy, getting rid of a Force Wheel, I think. Yeah,
I mean, the only reason Ant hasn't won the game yet is because of the clunky, opening hand that he kept. Because realistically, the 2 players haven't interacted at all.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened.
No, definitely. Now we think that is Calvaruso has got Past in Flames, but Roberto has got the Death Ray Shaman active. So in response to the Past in Flames, he can remove something from the end of it. Calvaruso he's got Empty Warrants, I think.
Is Empty the Warriors?
He's got both Past in Flames and Empty Warrants, I think.
They're calling a judge from the feature table. No idea why.
Maybe. Yeah, he didn't draw a card from the Taxian Prom. He draws the card now. It's not to Spito. Not so bad. Not so bad.
We see Marchetti has a Fort Bolt in hand.
Yeah.
Capito cosa è successo? Io ho messo le
Downside Diamond.
He can just play a bunch of tokens, but he's probably still gonna die to Delver, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going all in on the
Yeah, no,
worst
if-
storm spell.
No.
I mean, he's just gonna make a bunch of gold,
No, because
of
if
goblins
that
and just
obviously
die.
got to 5 on the turn, plus 3, plus 2. So he's dead. If he goes with Goblin plan, he's dead.
Does he have any other plan?
I don't know. Maybe he's got, as I told before, he's got both Past in Flames and both Empty Warrants.
Well, there's one thing he can do. He can just literally just play Past in Flames.
Yeah.
Then Marchetti can only remove the Ponder,
Yeah.
and he could, he could just get lucky with Jitaxian Probe.
Yeah.
He could discard his whole hand after all the rituals, playing Past in Flames. Then Marchetti probably removes Ponder in response, and then you can just Jitaxian Probe. Maybe if you're lucky, just hit what?
Yeah,
What did just
no.
happen?
Marketing is
Marketing is just made
remove the
the horrible
land,
play.
remove the land
Move the land
to
response.
go to bet the Cabaridol only for 3 mana instead of 5.
Yeah, but that means he's got full access to Ponder now.
Yeah, he got the possibility to access to Ponder. I don't know why I did that. Also because he can remove.
There's-
He's got the mana to remove.
He's got 3 red, 3 blacks.
Yeah,
And with 8 manas, you can play Busting Flames from the graveyard with 5,
yeah.
and then you can play the ritual, and you might get lucky with Ponder.
Yeah,
Is that enough?
yeah. Brainstorm. He found the force of will.
Does he have a blue card?
Marchetti.
Yeah, he does have a blue card.
Marchetti, guys. Marchetti. Marchetti wins. Not playing too good, but Marchetti with not a clear play, but effective. So he won the first one, and now he's in quite a good shape because on the sideboard he could finally board in this 4 Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, but better late than never.
So with 4 Cabal Therapy more, added to the other thing Marchetti has. Now here Calvaruso kept a very slow well. Very slow. He probably thought that Marchetti could have
Let's see what one market is gonna sideboard in. He's definitely gonna sideboard in the 4 therapies.
yeah,
He might have.
a surgical.
I think he's
No,
he's
with
not
red.
boarding in the Rudimental Blast.
But I was bored.
Is he?
I don't know how much cards he can board out.
I think he has at least 6. He has 4 lightning bolts,
Yeah, 2
2
balls.
fork bolts. That's already 6 cards.
Yeah, in fact, he's counting the cards he's boarding out. And it seems to be 6. Yeah, he's boarding out bolts, as we said. He's boarding out bolts. Yeah. And forked bolt, as we said. And he's putting in Craft Digger cage, Sigmal, for the goblins. Yeah. And also Past in Flames, yeah. Makes sense. He didn't board in Red Elemental Blasts.
Doesn't Graph Digger Cage stop your therapy?
Craft Digger cage?
Does, doesn't Graph Digger Cage stop your own therapy?
Yeah, it does. But from flashback.
From flashback. So why would you play both therapy and
No,
Graph Digger
I
Cage?
think he didn't board in the therapies.
If you're not passing things.
Okay.
Yeah, the cage is the double thing that stops the Past in Flames. But I don't know if it's a really big option here. I would definitely board in the therapies and to stick with plan and Pyromancer therapy. This is plan with deck, and you cannot play another deck. This deck is about Pyromancer therapy, brainstorms, or not.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If I wanted to play Grixis Delver, I would probably just play Cabal Therapy main deck.
8 level therapy.
It doesn't. I mean, you don't need to play that deck. I mean, you can play any other deck if you don't like to play Cabal Therapy main deck.
Yeah.
But if you want to play Pyromancer with blue, red, and black, then you really should play Therapy main deck, especially with the great synergy it has with Jutaxian Probe.
Obviously.
I mean, every deck with 4 Jutaxian Probe might want to play Therapy anyway.
Yes. Obviously.
Especially
This deck,
if
especially,
you have a
they
Grixis
create these
Pyromancer.
tokens and so on. I mean, this interaction, 4 probes, 4 pyromancer, and 4 therapies is the key of the deck.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think he kept inside the stifles also.
He has a couple of typhos, yeah.
Yeah. And all the 4 daisies. Maybe it's.
I think you want to stifle the fetchland though, because like against a deck that plays Duraces and Therapies, you're probably not gonna be able
Raga, sta
to
partendo,
hold to your stifles.
Okay, your second game, Roberto is gonna.
Yeah, they both kept their hand, and there's a fetch and go for Calvaruso.
Probe from Roberto.
Is that
Double chain of Vapor.
is that 2 chain of Vapor?
Dice, Toad Size, Infernal Tudor.
I can tell you already that if he does have a stifle, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, at this level, right, the deck lists are not public. So obviously, Calvaruso doesn't know the Marquette is playing 2 stifles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe would have gone for Brainstorm
Yeah,
turn 1,
obviously.
or at least
But
fetching
now
his land.
Marquette he doesn't have a stifle, but he's got a brains, he's got a days, and these days,
These
on
days
the
would be really
brainstorm
huge.
can be very effective.
If you're Calvaruso, you probably just you don't even fetch here.
A chain of vapor is Calvaruso is trying to take time, and Marchetti ready to resolve the chain of vapor on that red shaman. Yeah, Calvaruso correctly is buying time from his 2 chain of vapors, having another one in case Marchetti plays something against the strategy of Calvaruso. Now Calvaruso, you got to find another land.
It seems to me like he kept 2 bad hands anyway.
Yeah, now he's
mean-
gonna brainstorm, and Marchetti now. Yeah, obviously he's gonna daze, and now Calvaruso is not in a good shape. Marchetti was waiting for that brainstorm, and he found him ready with
I mean,
the
in
daze.
this situation, you have Marquette with no permanents in play, but still, in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
You know your opponent hand. You know it doesn't have
Definitely.
anything.
Even doesn't
Even though a
play
black source into a discard spell, into a couple of rituals, you can actually win the game from that.
Yeah, and instead, as we previewed, Calvaruso is facing a problem with mana. And now, if Marchetti can't see a stifle, will probably end the game. And Calvaruso now, he kept, not a decent.
I don't think that's a decent hand.
Yeah.
I don't think like 2 chain of vapors do anything against Grixis Delver.
Yeah, you only buy time until he doesn't see lands. Calvaruso.
Isn't that land tap for brainstorm?
Yeah, no, he did the brainstorm and the third.
Oh, alright.
Now, Marchetti definitely in a good shape with his. I found a land now.
Is it just gonna run into Stifle?
He's gonna run into a stifle. Fetch. Stifle.
Bang!
Bang. And now Marchetti.
Bang at the bottom of the room.
Marchetti. Marchetti.
Cavalletti.
What a play here. He's gonna letting me recover from the game against Angelo now. And probably the long stay in the toilet. The long stay in the toilet made Marchetti reflect on his
Yeah, it made him even stronger.
even stronger. And now Pyromancer and Ponder. It's gonna putting a clock here to Calvaruso.
Visto il bagaglino.
Can Calvaruso still win from me? I think he can. I mean, if he draws into like a black source.
Gravedigger Cage. Also. Vetech.
That's not a black source.
Yeah. He's got the Chain of Vapor still, Calvaruso for a Pyromancer. He takes the damages here. Ketty now. He's got also Delver, I think.
He's got Pyromancer number 2.
Yeah, probably.
He's
Yeah,
thinking
he's
about
got a
it.
second pyromancer. Yeah,
Yeah,
he got
why
the
not?
plane. Yeah, why not? He's got a single chain of vapor. He doesn't have Maelstrom Pulse. Ponder, so double tokens. So, Clock of
1,
Marchetti.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, R4.
Yeah, that's a 2-turn clock.
7.
Yeah, that's a 2-turn clock. If you're at
Yeah.
15, that's a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, Marchetti now a Ponder and decide to shuffle. Still have a mana left, potentially, with Deathright Shaman to do a Stifle or a Flusterstorm or something. That can be posing for Calvaruso.
You're
Calvaruso
just gonna discard now.
clearly
He's not gonna
nailed.
discard. I mean, you know, he might as well.
nailed by the
What?
Stifle of Marchetti.
Did he?
In the end of turn,
Did he just go discard instead of?
yeah,
I think.
he discarded the Marchetti.
Did it just go discard instead of
Yeah.
bouncing something?
Yeah,
He could have just bounced something. Right?
yeah,
Even though everything's different now,
yeah, definitely cool.
glad to be now.
Yeah, now Calvaruso to one turn
I
from
mean,
dying.
not that you really want to keep that Otis in your hand anyway, but you might as well just not discard it for a bounce.
Yeah, maybe Marchetti another Pyromancer if I saw well.
Especially because your opponent knows that you have the second spell, the second bounce spell.
Now Marchetti in clearly in the driver's seat. End of turn he did a little error when the opponent says discard and the Marchetti said after. No, I want to do something. A day's nails to the game, I think.
Absolutely deadly.
Now Calvaruso, last call for him.
Right, that's a fetching. Probably fetching to 7. To be fair, I'm not impressed with I'm not impressed with the hands that the other player kept. They both seemed really loose to me.
Really weak.
Game 1, like a really clunky slow hand.
Game two,
game 2,
simple island.
especially like you know what your opponent's playing, and you just keep with a double chain of vapor, which is not great anyway.
Yeah. This time the fetch resolves, putting Calvaruso to 7. It doesn't fetch with black.
Is it? Is it just gonna play Carpet of Flowers?
Carpet of Flowers. Marchetti says yes. Says I like it. But the problem is with Calvaruso. He's at 7 life. And he's dead on the board. And so now, I don't know the plan of Calvaruso here. Days from Marchetti. So Calvaruso, you have to play the Chain of Vapor now. Marchetti again. Marchetti. The stopping the toilet of Marchetti doesn't bring him the sageness, the wisdom of Marchetti in that toilet.
Best comment people have ever.
And now Calvaruso is responding to the days of Marchetti. And I don't know.
What he's trying to do. I mean, it's just that, isn't it?
I don't know. He's dead on the board. I don't know. It counts. Marchetti seems quite confident. And we're hoping a mirror match of Marchetti's in the final.
Can he,
Marchetti against Marchetti,
can he
like,
do anything with the two?
like
black
a
manas?
movie.
Can he do anything with the two black manas? Can he just go
The
reach
War
for-
of
reach-
Marchettis.
reach for 2 turn into something? I don't think it can go like 2 turn into anything.
Yeah, after the War of the Roses, the War of the Marchettis. A game of Marchettis. Marchettis he doesn't understand how Copper for Flowers works. Now 2 mana. So he basically paid the day's cost, letting. So Carpet of Flowers resolves. And now Calvaruso. Marchetti seems a sphinx. You cannot say what he's thinking. Now Marchetti, Flusterstorm. Dark Ritual. Not good here, Marchetti, with the first Flusterstorm.
Oh my god. Is he just gonna win from that?
No, I can't believe it.
Can he win from that?
Yeah, he's got an Inferno Tutor in hand.
Yeah, you cannot tutor for anything else than Shade of Vapor, isn't it?
Yeah, he don't.
No, non posso combattere per Cascini in mano.
He couldn't combo out because when I actually said
So the first finalist is Roberto Marchetti with Grixis Delver, and the other final is the other Nicola Marchetti with an Omnitel against Angelo Cadei with Miracle. We don't know. So the winner will be one of the two Marchettis or Cadei. So in every case will be a party, will be a success. Can we say about the match? I think that the okay, we're here with Fabio,
Random guy.
a random guy. No, Fabio, you're an expert combo player, so how can you say about the ends the Calvaruso kept in the two games?
Actually, was working at the.
He kept first turn. He kept a end with 3 lands, lead, empty the warrens, and past in flames, and Cabra Ripple, I think. And the second, only 1 land and 2 chain of vapors, and so and a slow end, and with no mana end.
Well, the no mana end is pretty risky because his opponent, of course, was playing
Daisies and
Stifles, also Stifles, which are not a given these days. So I think that definitely it was risky. But the other end perhaps was borderline acceptable given that mana is priority in this matchup. So you want to have something that, although it can be slow, it's something that it's not at risk of dying to a random wasteland. So I would rather keep slowish hands that maybe fast
but one
but
single
inconsistent.
mana, single mana. Yeah, but it's a deck in which mulliganing is such a problem, or no?
Yeah, it is. Not in that you lose. For example, like we were just told that Marchetti perhaps is available for a quick interview, so perhaps I will be the one to translate because he doesn't seem to speak Italian too well. But
You want to do your interview?
no, I will be a translator for Marchetti.
Okay.
Sì, diciamo, adesso giochiamo la finale. Marchetti. Vieni, siediti.
Ciao Roberto, complimenti.
Ciao, grazie. Scusate, sono un po' emozionato perché è la
Here,
prima
Roberto,
volta che
In English.
I'm very,
Roberto is saying that he's very happy.
sono molto emozionato perché non mi è mai capitato di fare top 8 in tutta la mia vita, quindi
It's the first top 8 he does in his life of player. And,
solitamente sono un giocatore scarso che fa sempre 0-2 drop.
he's usually saying that he's gonna 0-2 drop. Instead, today is in the final of an important tournament, top series Star City. So, with a deck, can you tell something about your deck, your choices in the deck?
Ma io mi sono messo a giocare Grixis Delver perché non essendo tanto esperto in Legacy ho guardato un po' i mazzi che sono per la maggiore come Miracles, come Lens, come tutte le varie salse di Delver e ho optato per Grixis Delver perché comunque un mazzo che non ti stanca particolarmente come può essere un Miracles o un Lens e diciamo è anche abbastanza semplice fra virgolette da giocare posto che Legacy è un formato molto difficile.
Okay, he's saying that he's not a legacy player, he's not a regular legacy player, so he spotted out the lists on the deck list, and he saw that he's a good deck, but he's not too complex decks to play, and he's also not tiring deck as a deck. You don't arrive at 9 o'clock in the night with Edash, and so he chooses for
Già ce l'ho
the
così la mal di testa.
and that choice I think it was good because he's now in the final. And puoi dirci la scelta di giocare le therapy non di lane ma di side?
Questa è una scelta che, sai, io vengo da una città dove il Legacy purtroppo è una cosa sconosciuta, quindi ho fatto una lista come ho trovato su internet, ho fatto qualche partita su Magic Workstation, ma ti devo dire la verità, per il prossimo torneo di Legacy sicuramente un 2x di therapy la metto dentro, perché sennò contro combo il G1 lo perdi sempre e non hai sempre culo come me che vince i G2 e G3.
Okay. I was asking Roberto how he played the Cabal Therapy sideboard and not main deck as with Grixis level classical list play, and he said that he was a because he's saying he's not an expert of a format back. He decided to put on the sideboard, but in the next tournament, if he plays against the deck, he will surely play 2 therapies or run 2 or 3 therapies main deck to have a chance against the combo deck already in the first game to win.
People at home ask how he could beat Dredge.
Come va tutto Dredge?
Ho battuto Dredge come l'ho battuto? L'ho battuto che lui praticamente è andato in scombatta, ha tentato di farmi i danni letali con lo scorticatore del vincolo odio e col troll della tomba Golgari, ma non mi ha fatto abbastanza danni per uccidermi. Io ero apparecchiato con i Delver, con lo sciamano e con il piromante, era 3, mi è bastato attaccare di Delver, ho vinto. In G2 vabbè, Surgical, Graph Digger, Cage.
Okay. In the game 1, he was in a race against the Golgari Grave Troll and another beast the opponent put him down, but he won the race. And in game 2, with Surgical Extraction and Graph Digger Cage, he managed to easily to
E
win.
Lethal Mago, di primo in tutte
And
e due
also
le
that
partite.
that right Shaman in both games in turn 1, that is against the Dredge deck is quite good because you can remove every time the Dredge thing. So Roberto, congratulations.
Grazie.
Bravissimo.
Scusate, sono un po' emozionato.
In bocca al lupo per la finale, good luck for the final.
Thank you.
I don't know which is your opponent, but we hope you will win if you play the final.
Cerco di mettercela tutta, per me è già un successo essere arrivati qua. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Ciao, grazie.
So we had a little chat with Roberto. As you understood, is not a choice to play the therapy sideboard. Is not a choice that he did like intentionally. I mean, he doesn't know the deck, he doesn't know the format. He thought maybe that the therapies can be too much, or I don't know. But anyway, he'll play. Okay, now a video
Legacy Band.
on Legacy Band, a deck tech on Legacy Band. See you in few minutes for the final.
Of this deck tech
here in Milan. And I'm Nicola Barovier. With me I have Fabio Matteo Dozio. And right now we will be exploring very, I could say, a masterpiece actually of a certain deck, which is a band, but very much tuned for the metagame we have here in Milan. Fabio.
The creator of the deck who came up with this masterpiece of an idea is our dear friend Andrea Boccia, who is without any question one of the best players in the legacy scene from Milan, who came up with a very metagame list of band, which is thought and refined to combat the overabundance of miracles in the Milan area. And this is the reason why this is not your usual band list, but it features some very interesting options. If we take a look at the creature base, for example, we can see that Andrea is playing 4 Vendilion Clique, which some may think is too much of a number, but actually is a pretty precise choice, because Vendilion Clique is the creature that you always want to play on turn 2 of a Noble Hierarch, and by herself she is able to hold the ground or the air better with a very, very good race. We also have the full 4 through True Name Nemesis, which are particularly useful against the black-green base decks, but also against miracles, because of course it's always a threat by its own. Then we also have the 4 Thalia. And all of these creatures put together really make up for a very threatening cocktail, given that they are very difficult to be dealt with, and so they are also able to cover different matchups across the format in very different ways. One thing that is perhaps the most noticeable about this list is that Andrea is going for a couple of Collective Company, which is a card that you don't see very often being played in Legacy. But here, with so many creatures, is at a very low risk of whiffing. Actually, is pretty good, and once again, it's pretty good against miracles as well. Given that it is going to be a 2-for-1 most of the times, it can be played at instant speed.
Right.
Yeah.
And talking about the mana base,
Yeah.
what I find very interesting is the 4 of Cavern of Souls and Caracas.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say about these 6 cards?
These cards are, once again, just a bright idea. Cavern of Souls is particularly good because several of your creatures here are wizards. For example, Vendilion Clique is a wizard, and so is Venser, Shaper Savant. And so you will be able to not let them be countered, for example, by Pyroblast, which is a card that is very commonly played in the format. For the same reasons, Caracas is particularly good because with Clique, Thalia and Venser, you get to some sort of lock where you're able to keep producing value and your opponent is put in a position that becomes more and more difficult. And of course we have to remember the game being played by Andrea against Team America, where he managed to play a Venser of a Cavern, and then he had a Caracas, and his opponent was pretty much locked out of the game. It was really a bright moment in the history of Magic. So yeah, also as far as choices in the mana base go, that's also pretty much all calculated.
Of course. And of course I can say that Caracas is a good idea also, not only to protect your own creatures, but also to deal with any sneak and show based decks.
Even Tassivir sometimes. Tassivir is not being played so much, but so yeah, Caracas is of course Legacy All-Star.
And what about the artifacts we see here? The 3 equipments.
The 3 equipments represent the Stoneforge Mystic package, and perhaps the one which is not so common is Sword of Fire and Ice, but this is pretty much a good decision, a good choice, because this deck is not really able to produce a lot of card advantage, so you have somehow to make up for your creatures not producing value. You don't have any card draw, you don't even play Chasing Mouse Sculptor, so you need something to pull ahead. And Sword of Fire and Ice fulfills this duty very nicely, and also of course increases the race, and it makes every creature, even Noble Hierarch, become a threat on its own. So,
right,
pretty much, yeah.
And what would you say it to be an average starting hand, which is a good hand to keep against Miracle? Because of course we have to talk about mulligans as well, and so what's a decent hand that Andrea Boccia would say, okay, I'm gonna keep this hand if I were to play against Miracle?
I think, since I'm friend with Andrea, I think if he knew that he was playing against Miracle, he would keep a hand featuring Vedilo Click for sure. Both because he loves our card, but also because he's very good at pressuring Miracle in the area, while at the same time disrupting the Miracle deck. But Venser, of course, is another all-star in the matchup, given that he can bounce counterbalance and becomes uncounterable of a Cardinal Souls. And as I said before, it can be recurred with Caracas over the span of a game, so it becomes very difficult for the Miracle opponent to keep up, and also both Click and Venser bounce Miracle spells being played. So yeah, this is very
Yeah, and you can do it as fast as turn 3 with all the mana dorks he has, right?
And that's why Noble Hierarchy is here, because it allows for more explosive starts. And also Thalia is pretty good against Miracles, given that all the cantrips are going to cost 1 more, and so they become slower. So as you can see, all the pieces combined together make up for something that is really well set to fight Miracles.
I have one more question regarding the main deck, and how good do you think it's a collected company as a 2-off?
I think it's good. I said before, it's not something, of course, that gives you 100% certainty every time. But since here you're also playing Brainstorm, it becomes easier for you, for example, to set up a makeshift collected company by putting 2 creatures on top and then going collected company in the end of the turn or even in your own turn. So yeah, I think it's good, and also it's a 2-for-1, and this deck really needs card advantage somehow. So good choice.
And one very last question about the main, which came into my mind right now: how bad is for you, in your opinion, the absence of Knight of the Holy Reliquary?
Well, Knight of the Reliquary should be present usually in every deck list being played by Andrea Boccia, but this time I think he decided not to go with it because Knight of the Reliquary is a bit slow and it doesn't provide any value against Terminus, and against combo decks it's not really the best creature, so I think this is pretty much the right choice for this current metagame, not to include it. But for example, if the metagame was more full with mid-range decks, of course it would be better, even tempo decks, given that Knight of the Reliquary at a certain point will be able to start wastelanding their mana base every turn.
Right.
So,
okay. Talking about the sideboard now. Right now I can see on top of my mind the 2 Milan Crusader,
yeah.
which is a very hefty card, and well,
Yeah,
what can you say about this?
Milan Crusader is particularly good, of course, against the green and black base decks. And I know for a fact that Andrea managed to lead the dream in a matchup against Team America or Shardless Blood, perhaps, where he managed to equip Milan Crusader with Butterskull and to swing for 12.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage and life gain.
I think his opponent wasn't really that happy.
All right. What about the rest of the sideboard? Here I have, like, I can see Rest in Peace, which is obviously a good choice against any graveyard-based deck such as Dredge or any deck which could feature Snapcaster Mage.
It also doubles up disruption against the Death Ray Shaman decks. And for the other cards, you see an assortment of various headbears being played, and Flusterstorm, which is good against combo decks because sometimes they don't expect Flusterstorm to come off bound sideboards. So maybe they are sideboarding more to fight the headbears. For example, think about Adonais and Tendris boarding in the Decays, the Chain of Vapors, and then they got demolished by surprise Flusterstorms.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of, in fact, because this deck, well, apart from Thalia, main deck, you don't have much against combo decks. isn't it right?
Well, yeah, but still, Video Click herself is already quite the good card against 10 red stacks, but also Show and Tell. Show and Tell, of course, becomes a very easy matchup given that you have Caracas, the Bannisters. So you can already put up a fight from the main deck, but the sideboard really gives a further punch in with more head pairs.
And I heard that he was actually the very first person to brew this very unusual band version.
Yeah.
But I know that some other people across Europe are being interested in this brew and did some results with this deck as well, right?
Yeah, I talked with Andrea, and he told me that apparently some German players are falling in love with Boccia Band as well, let's call it like this, and they are copying his list and asking him privately for advice. So it seems that this deck, which basically started off like just as a funky brew, is actually gaining some mainstream success. So good Italian.
Yeah, good to hear, and let's hope that we will see more of this archetype and brew in the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Signing off.
Thank you for watching.
Hi everyone. Following Pro Tour out of the gate. Hi everyone. Following Pro Tour out of the Gatewatch, I wanted to talk to you about a deck that I suppose is really well positioned in the format. The deck went 9-1 in the constructed portion. No idea about the limited record, but it was probably quite poor considering that it didn't make top 8. But if it did make top 8, it might as well won the whole thing. Right. The deck name is Kiki Chord, even though that's wrong because it doesn't play any Kiki Jikis or anything. The actual deck name is Chord. Right. It's a white, green, and black deck. The classic sort of calling shell. He's playing a full set of Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, and Wall of Roots, which is the mana accelerations. 23 lands, and that's actually the basic of the deck. The actual combo is composed of 4 Archangel of Toon and 3 Spike Feeders, which basically means that you're gonna gain infinite lives and pump your creatures like to infinite or whatever. Which means you're single-handedly gonna win against most decks in the format, the ones that attack your life total, say Eldrazi or Mono Red or Affinity or whatever. If you pull the combo off, you are gonna win against most of the format. The decks against which you're not gonna win if you actually pull off the combo are the ones that are like horrible matchups to start with. The deck is mostly composed of creatures. It literally just plays 3 spells, 3 Path to Exile, which are just a concession to the format, I suppose, if you need to just survive until we pull the combo off. Also, it has a few silver bullets, like a few one-off, like Ors of Pontiff, Quasali Pride Mage, and Scavenging Ooze. They're just decent cards that you can just tutor for with your Shoulder Calling sometimes. Right. Lingering Soul is one of the best cards in the format at the moment because it single-handedly beats Affinity, and it does slow down Eldrazi and it slows down a few other decks. Also, Cursor of Crowfix, probably not the best card in Modern, but it helps thin the deck and also not miss a land drop. Also, it kind of works well with Archangel of Toon. If you don't have the Spike Feeder, it's still going to pump your creatures. That also works well with like Gamony Township, because you do have a way of winning games just by playing a bunch of creatures and pumping them with Gamony Townships or Archangel of Toon's triggers. The deck is functioning like pretty straightforward.
he has a good game one against any creatures, Affinity, Eldrazi, Mono Red, any creature based deck with no combo. He can pull the combo off as fast as turn 4, I assume, which is the average speed, the average kill for most modern decks. Obviously, Lingering Souls helps you out not dying to just a bunch of 4/4s. It's not very resilient to discard spells or counter spells, and that's why you don't really want to play against blue decks. You don't really want to play against permissions. They don't really exist, but you don't want to play against those decks. And you want to just survive and then pull your combo off. The sideboard helps you out against a few matchups. It has a few one-off, Canonist, Barrington, Melira and Sigarda. Canonist is a concession to Storm decks, concession to Ad Nauseam decks. Those are awful matchups anyway. You do have free Toll series, but let's say you're not really favored against those. Painful Truths, a decent card, like 3 mana draw 3 against most decks in the format, it's quite decent. Stony Silence, just a kill more, a win more against Affinity. And Warship, probably one of the best sideboard cards against everything. It's a win more against every single creature deck. Melira is a concession to Infect. It's like a one-off to tutor with Chord. You don't actually have any combo with Melira. It's literally just not to die against Infect. So we can't really say against most decks, placing Worship in play and Barrington if they play red. Just Worship by itself is probably enough against decks that only have, let's say, the Powder Keg effect, like Eldrazi. Affinity cannot possibly beat Worship. Most creatures deck, they cannot beat Worship. Even though they might have like sideboard cards to get rid of Stony Silence, so it's pretty much the same. But if you, obviously, if they get rid of one, they don't get rid of the other one. So overall, I would say this deck is a really good choice. You're obviously going to scoop to decks like Ad Nauseam or Storm. There's no chance you're going to win game one. Even if you went to Infinite Life against Ad Nauseam, they might still have Laboratory Maniac, and they're going to just kill you just by not drawing any cards. So overall, I think the deck is very well positioned in the format, and it's definitely a decent choice if you assume you're going to play against loads of Eldrazi's, loads of Affinities, and loads of creature-based decks. Hi everyone.